this team, a team that has come in with unfinished business. They did have a difficult one in the previous edition, but this is the only team that has beaten Mamelodi Sundowns in 90 minutes. So this is a team that has got to be a force to be reckoned with. This is a team that has won the league in Zambia back-to-back. Dr. Brenda Kinda in the house, supported by her staff and the TSG, who are doing a fantastic job out there to make sure that this tournament goes on without a hitch.
And they have the headache of choosing who's going to be the woman of the match today. It's good that you and I don't need to be doing that job, because those ladies, when they get into the pitch, they make sure that they are excellent and they do some quality job. And you can see Zesco, Ndola girls, is one team that is a force to reckon with. We're talking about a Mamelodi Sundowns that we saw yesterday. It was more or less the same team that we saw yesterday that Zesco played against in the previous edition. It means that Zesco is one team that you do not take for granted. Lesotho will know that they need to make sure that they get that early goal, they manage that game better, they are compact in that midfield, they are compact at the back, and they avoid mistakes at any cost.
While talking about avoiding mistakes at any cost, you alluded to a very important point much earlier. Due to the high temperatures, you are having the fact that the players or the matches have been postponed to slightly later times, which is 4 p.m. and 7 p.m. to allow and look after the welfare of the players. With such conditions, I think we will still have a water break, as it is the referee's discretion. However, the heat stress machine will give us an indication of whether or not we need a break. But when you're looking at the pitch, it is an artificial turf. It does hold up, and it does give off the heat. So this alone is a contributing factor, more so for the
becomes very hot, especially when we are talking of over 25 degrees. We saw it's 30 degrees today. It means it's pretty hot. Not much in terms of the wind that we saw, but for players, they will tell you that this is a weather condition that we can play off. They have played their first game in this very pitch. They know what they need to do. They know where they are able to apply those high presses to make sure that they force those mistakes. We saw a few slips in the first games for them. One will only hope that we are not going to see slips that are going to cause major problems for the defenders.
Well, it has been a very settle down. They got to train on the pitch as well to acclimatize and get the feel of the playing surface. With each team having played at this venue, I think they are all nicely settled.
They are all nicely settled, and they'll come here knowing that they need to make sure that they know when and how to try and manage their bodies. Remember, only not less than 48 hours after playing the first game.
Well, welcome to the stadium, with the Gaborone Stadium, where the heart of South African women's football is beating right now. We've just come from the WAFCON, and we welcome the 8 teams that are participating in the 6th edition of the CAF Women's Champions League COSAFA qualifier, proudly hosted here in Botswana, and we are live in match day 3.
We are live in match day 3, and we can promise you that we are going to see some exciting football.
With 8 teams having entered the arena, only 1 will walk away with that golden ticket. 1 will go to the continental finals, and we are right in the middle of the battle. It is Group A, game 2 of 3. This is where the tournaments are won and lost. The handshakes, the customary greetings. two teams that have already shown us what they can do for you. This is the fixture this afternoon. Our officials nicely kicked it as one gets to see Rose Zimba, Evelyn Augustians, Nandipa Menze, and Kialibucha Achame of Botswana. And just to caption the names of Nandipa Menze and her team, Rose Zimba's given the whistle for this afternoon to get us going. It is a moment for these referees to cherish, most of which were part of the COSAFA Cup out in Johannesburg in early February, March of this year, as the two teams just line up for the customary greetings. In the one corner, it is the Zambian Zesco Ndola girls with white, a bit of orange and green trimmings. And for the Lesotho Defence Force in the other corner, they are in all green. And that is how you identify the two. Chitundo, the captain for Zesco Ndola girls. And it is Tshwanelo Buka, the captain of Lesotho. This is the lineup for Lesotho Defence Force. Sibulele Mwenza keeps her position in goal. Bokana Tsane, Tshwanelo Libuka, Musele Peter, Dimpo Tako, Ntabeleng Makabane, Reitumetse Namane, Tatom Pepesa, and Makotso Maulosi, Masiriti Muhlolo, and Nsameng Pili. You're looking at the bench as well. Coach Nation Dube has decided that some players will be relegated to the bench. Of course, Leratompo, Mantiti Kloloane, and Itumeleng Mulusi.
They're coming here with a 4-3-3 formation with only one change in that left back position. We're seeing Lerato Keme being in the bench, Bokanzani replacing her. No changes in that midfield and in that front three.
Here is the lineup for Zesco Ndola girls. It's Natasha Nali, Pauline Zulu, Abigail Mukombwe, Endless Piri, Charity Mubanga, Tandi Wendlovu, Judith Soko, Avel Chitundo, Penelope Mulubwa, Majori Mulenga, and Mabel Bwalia. Coach Florence Gatia, who has just joined this team recently, bringing in Dorothy Daka and Mila Milambo on the bench.
4-3-3 formation for the team with only one change in that middle of the pack. Abigail Mukumbe replaces Esther Muchunga. There's an important position as she will be the holding midfield with Avel Chitundu and Penelope Mulumba in the left and right hand side, aiding into the attack of Charity Mwamba, who will be the one holding the line, and Piri, who has 2 goals so far on the right, and Tandi Wendlovu on the left hand side.
It's going to be explosive. It's going to be frantic. It's going to be pleasing to the eye. When you look at the two teams, they come in with a 4-3-3 formation. That tells us it's an all-out attack. We are ready to rumble. We are waiting for the referee to get us underway. It is Lesotho up against Zambia, the best of the best, and Lesotho gets us going. A team that is part of the defense force out in Lesotho, who come into this match having lost by 2-1 against Gaborone United. So many positives taken out from that previous match, to the point that they're looking to start pretty early on the same foot. Ball hoisted into the box, but you got to look at the defensive qualities that have been on display, and indication very early in the match with a high ball that comes through from Ntabeleng Makaban.
They do say if you win that midfield battle, you stand a good chance of winning the game. With the 4-3-3 formation tells us it's going to be all an attack, and the Lesotho ladies started off well in attack.
Well, pretty much with the high press and trying to force the mistake. Eventually, it is a foul that is on Tandi Ndlovu, who goes down on the side of the touchline, and the challenge there coming through from Dimpo Dako. Free kick given to Zesco Ndola girls, a team that is a force in Zambia. A team that finished the 2024-25 season unbeaten. So that tells you Green Buffaloes are licking their wounds. Green Buffaloes, who dominated women's football in Zambia, are the team that is slowly being pushed aside by Zesco Ndola girls. Throw in inside the box, and this is where you don't want to allow players like Charity Mubanga, Endless Piri to get into those spaces, to get into those dangerous spaces, because they will punish you.
They went to sleep at all, Lesotho Defence Force. It was because of that high press that Zesco Ndola girls make sure they apply that high press, won the ball. It was a throw-in, quick throw-in, and they were able to get that ball into a dangerous area. They'll be disappointed that they didn't hit the target.
Free kick to Lesotho Defence Force. Tatoma Pepesa sends that ball in search of greener pastures up front. Literally looking for the players in green, but a bit of a push and a shovel as the referee awards a free kick. So far so good. Rose Zimba. In the midfield is Ntabeleng Makabane, but shows too much of the ball, and there's a player that that's Ntabeleng Pili, who went down in a huddle, but no malicious intent. Here's an opportunity for Zesco with Piri. Takes a strike, keeper, opening goal. Brilliant, brilliant effort as that ball goes in the back of the net. However, offside is given. We'll try and have a look at that particular move. It was a promising one, but that is just a glimpse of how lethal they are in that particular area. That is Zesco Ndola goals.
When in size for Lesotho Defence Force, they took the eyes from that blind spot. The goalkeeper should be spotting those runners to make sure that they close down that blind spot.
Ball on the edge of the box and giving chase. It's Ntabeleng Pili, but that ball goes out for a throw-in, and Zesco will get an opportunity to just launch one of the attacks with Piri. Piri, the player who was voted as a player of the match in the previous encounter against Herentals. Quite dominating performance, brilliant performance, and one that indicates that she is a cut above the rest. A player who's part of the Copper Queens is Endless Piri. Dainty and diminutive, but big heart.
They'll need to make sure that they contain Endless Piri, or at least they try, because we saw in the first game, Herentals tried to contain her, but she was a force to reckon with. Today, Lesotho Defence Force will be coming here knowing how important it is to make sure that they track her, they make sure that they keep her at bay, because she's going to keep making those runs, keep making those crosses, and trying to take those shots at goal.
Free kick. But here's the opportunity for to try and diffuse Thandiwe Ndlovu. Thandiwe continues a run and delivers a delightful ball into the box, but there's nobody there in a white jersey. Here is Thandiwe one more time, waltzing away. Should we call her waltzing Matilda?
We should.
Well, in football, in my experience, football players are synonymous in having nicknames. I am struggling to find a player who does not have a nickname. Some of them don't want to share their nickname, but then those that don't want to share their nicknames, we'll give them, right?
We'll give them nicknames.
There we go. So we already got Waltzing Matilda in Thandiwe Ndlovu. Ball away from that defense. It's Pauline Zulu. Still in the air, good touch, but Agnes Libuka, good defending one more time as Piri looks to create space. What she does get is a corner for her team. Does get a corner for her team. Endless Piri one of the few players that plays with a tuck in. When last you saw a player playing with a tuck in?
Especially in the ladies' football.
Especially in the ladies. It's usually the shorts that are almost down by the knees. And, well, not only in the ladies, also in the men's game. Ball in, header over the top. Lesotho being warned that, trust me, Zesco Ndola girls can score them from range. They score them on the ground. They score them from the header up in the air. And they will have to be at their best defensively.
They'll need to do much better, Lesotho Defence Force, especially in those dead ball situations. We saw a corner that was won by Zesco. The first touch needs to be from a defender of Lesotho Defence Force girls.
Well, Piri not too happy with her teammate there. That is Penelope Maluba. She says, put it in the space. Don't take it to the right. And rightfully so. She wants to cut in from the left-hand side. She enjoys taking on defenders is endless, Piri. You're looking at the width that she does give with Ndlovu on the left-hand side and Piri on the right-hand side. Here they are one more time. Mubanga Charity inside the box in 6s and 7s, and the use of the hand right in front of the referee, Rose Zimba.
Good spot from the referee. She manages to spot that foul, but the warning signs are already there from Zesco. Lesotho Defence Force, especially at that right-hand side, they need to make sure that they contain the numbers and make sure that they don't allow Endless Piri to have so much room to run into, and always try and guide her away from goal. Once she cuts in, she is very dangerous.
Well, Hazel Nali, who was beaten twice in the previous match, quite an experienced Copper Queens player, an integral part of the Copper Queens. Strong run from Mubanga. There's nothing about, there's nothing that she's going to give and say, come and fetch Charity from here. She's going to impose herself. She's really strong. She's really robust and quite forceful up front.
Quite forceful. Another that I believe Force should not take their eyes from. That's a nasty challenge, and well spotted by the referee. This is another ball that is going to be delivered into that box. Lesotho Defence Force will need to make sure that the first header comes from them, and the first yellow card is shown to Lesotho Defence Force on the 9th minute. It's going to change how she plays, how she defends from now on.
Most definitely, KK. We're talking of a defender that is now on caution, and bearing in mind Bokang Tane is the player that has come on in this for Lerato Keme, who was one of the players that is substituted when you're looking at the lineup from the previous encounter. So Bokang Tane already playing with caution, and once a defender is playing with a yellow card, trust me, the handbrake goes up.
And they're gonna keep coming at her, those Zesco ladies.
Played short. Piri looking to whip that ball in. Keeper makes a save and gets it furthest away from the goal mouth. Here is the explosiveness of Lesotho looking to create more opportunities. And Zesco, good cover coming back into that position. Walia is available. Mabel, she'll play it with Pauline. But again, look at this scampering of Mohlolo, trying to really defend from the front. Lesotho at times just going back into a 4-4-2, piling the pressure and maybe playing with a bit of a mid-block. But we're seeing Zambia that are very comfortable in the build-up. You allow them the space, you allow them the time, it's at your own peril. This team needs to be suffocated. This team needs to be frustrated. This team needs to be disrupted. We're looking at Mubanga. Good ball inside the box. Piri unable to stay on her feet, and Mohlolo, great play to pick up Makhotso, who was an absolute fantastic player, or the outlet for Lesotho Defence Force. But it looks like Zesco have done their homework.
They've indeed done their homework, Zesco, and they are applying that high press, making it difficult for Lesotho to come out from the defensive line with the ball. Lesotho Defence Force, they need to try and be quicker when they come out from that defense.
Well, here's an opportunity here for Penelope Malubwa. Well, Penelope Malubwa, who is the top goal scorer for Zesco Ndola girls, 35 goal season. That is Penelope Malubwa. That's a player you're not going to give space, time and room. Trust me, the net is going to be singing. Hallelujah.
So many ladies here in the first 11 for Zesco who have goals in them. You're talking about Penelope Malumba, you have Charity Mwamba, Endless Piri.
Ball in. Header! Off the line. Off the line. Great defending. Great organization. And the ball is a quick throw-in. Looking to capitalize on the players that decided to go to sleep in that particular moment. Well, there's a bit of discomfort for Makhotso Maolosi, who's down in the box and holding her knee. That is one of the players. Let's have a look at this in replay. Good work. I think they clashed.
There is no proper communication. The important thing is they managed to get it away. If you're on the line and you don't defend like that, don't be there at all. But she made sure that she's able to react and they cleared that ball. They can be able to regroup and make sure that they defend this throw in.
You know what is funny?
What is?
You look at that incident, because she was injured by her own player, there wasn't too much of a fuss made about it.
If it was an
If it was an opponent, we would have seen the theatrics that go with it. Ball into the box and comfortably into the hands of Hazel.
She's been busy, Hazel. In the first,
Sorry, it's
13
Mwenza.
minutes.
It's Mwenza.
She's
Hazel is the goalkeeper of Zesco, who's been on holiday in these opening minutes.
So far, she's been on holiday. She reminds me of Andile yesterday.
Okay, Kay was absolutely impressed with Andile Dlamini. We were looking and finding out which holiday destination was she at. Was it Barbados? Was it Jamaica? Or, well, she said comfortably it was in Gaborone. She said she was in the
fields.
No, she was at the park.
She was at the national
At
park.
the national park, taking a stroll down with the Big Five, which is a wonderful destination for one and all to visit beautiful Botswana. They have some great entertainment, and if you are one of those who loves the nature, this is the place to be. Ball out to the right-hand side. Nice switch, but the support play, perhaps slow in coming as you get to pick out Tandi Wendlovu, who switched flanks with Endless Piri and trying to cause some confusion. But that is showing you that the two players are pretty much switched on. Endless may be finding it difficult to get by from Bokangtane. She switches to the other side and says, let me try Dimpo. Would it be easier to penetrate? And Dimpo says, not under my watch. So you'll find them keep switching those flanks.
And now it's up to the defense to make sure that they're also switched on, and also the technical team to say, are you tracking Endless Piri when she switches the side, or are we going to keep that shape? Are we going to keep that formation how we have been? But so far, I think they've managed to contain her ever since she moved to the left-hand side.
Mosele Peter was quite marauding in that midfield in the first game, but you've also got to give credit to Majorit Mulenga, who's been fantastic in the defense of Zesco Ndola girls. And the combination of Pauline Zulu as well as Mulenga is one that shows the telepathy between the two players. A foul. Referee Rose Zimba is being spot on thus far.
That was a good turn.
Good turn. Absolutely. Had she gotten away.
Oh, Lesotho Defence Force will be through on goal.
Absolutely. Here's an opportunity for Tato Mapepesa. It's a long ball. She's looking to find the attackers there in Muhlolo. Pickpocketed by Mkabane. Trying to turn Masariti Muhlolo. Showed too much of the ball. Yes, Endless. We spoke about the tenaciousness of Endless Piri all over the park. She's got an engine, perhaps a V8 or a V6. That's definitely highly fueled.
Looks like it's a V8 from Endless Spirit. She manages to win the ball on their own half and try and drive. The good thing here, what I'm seeing from Lesotho Defence Force is when she has the ball, they're closing those spaces and forcing her to either go back or go in a straight line. No forward movement for now, but she's going to keep on trying Endless Spirit.
There's the Golf GTI. There's the Golf GTI. Whether it's an 8 or a 7, it's a Vrpa. That is Endless Piri on the touchline, cutting through, looking for the space, and does pick out a teammate, Avel Chutundu, the danger man, the shooter, Avel Chutundu. 26 goals, 14 assists, keepers alert.
That was well taken. The strength from Mubanga, it's one that Lesotho Defence Force will be coming into this encounter knowing fully well that they need to make sure that the defender is always on the right side. And she managed to unleash the shot, but it wasn't a powerful shot, and the goalkeeper was on the right spot.
Awesome ball, but a little too much to ask from the Vrpa. Endless Piri. Trust me, if you are to track her down, you're going to be left dead in the tracks. That's how fast she is.
They'll need to find their own Vrpa to track her down Endless Spirit.
Absolutely. Well, the jury is out to see who's going to keep up. For the moment, you're looking to find Nsabeleng Pili. Shows too much of the ball, and Tandiwe Ndlovu on the left is pickpocketed. Eventually, thought she had lost that ball, but creates a space and a little bit of jersey tugging just to stop and break that momentum from LDF.
They need Anamani more on the ball. Lesotho Defence Force, she's able to hold on to the ball. They need to make sure once she has the ball, there's enough support so that she can protect that ball and have someone that she can pass to.
Well, bit of a push and a shove and a free kick right in front of referee Rosa Zimba. And good spirit, though, being played as we have a look at the replay. Push, shove, there's no denying that. We'll show you the fouls, we'll show you the goals without fear or favor. And that is due to our excellent camera men who are out there doing a fantastic job in the heat. And as well as our directors and VT operators who complete this product and give you a wonderful feed and a wonderful picture for you to enjoy. Well, sunscreen is important, as we see. No, they're not grey. It's the sunscreen protecting them from such high temperatures.
If you come from Gaborone, you need to go back home and they don't see you with a changed color. Put on that sunscreen. It's very important, and we were talking about some high temperatures, so it is important for these ladies to make sure that they're well protected. Those spaces that Zesco United tried, the Zesco Ndola girls tried to play on.
Well, here's an opportunity for Zesco to send that ball right back. It's in the air, hanging for quite some time. And the referee just blowing for the foul. Tied it up by Nsabeleng. Competing, though, in every department. When one said the Lesotho Defence Force were going to be the whipping girls of this tournament, you are definitely eating humble pie. They play some brilliant football. They are tenacious. They are a team that looks well coerced and also showing so much of improvement, this being their third appearance in this particular tournament. And one also remembers a team that has come from the Lesotho Shores in Kick for Life. They were just pushed aside by Lesotho Defence Force. You'll remember in their first outing in this regional competition, they were thrashed 6-0 by Sundowns, and it is a far cry from that particular scoreline.
Yeah, they were indeed thrashed. And when you're playing Mamelodi Sundowns, I believe they'll say it's Mamelodi Sundowns. And right now they're showing a lot of improvement. And we talk about this game just after 20 minutes. They've settled into this game. They are able now to try and knock the ball around patiently to try and open up the defense of Zesco. It's good to see Lesotho Defence Force really getting into the game.
Yes, Endless. Ball delivered in the box and a brilliant effort. That's the beginning of Endless Piri show. Vrpa. And another disappointment. And Endless is asking, what more am I supposed to do? This is the second disallowed goal. Well, maybe, just maybe, she needs to hold her run a little bit more and maybe give a bucket run to try and beat that defense, because they do have the pace. Well, she got me excited, and so did you.
We thought it was
the opening
goal. But for Lesotho Defence Force defense, they'll be quite happy that they were able to hold that line brilliantly for the 2 disallowed goals. And the communication with the goalkeeper. But for Zesco, they know they're going to keep trying those runs, and they're eventually going to get it right. It's up to Lesotho to make sure that they stop Endless Piri from making those runs.
2 players waiting for the delivery, but it had to be a very, very timely challenge that was mounted by Musale Peter, who got into the space in the nick of time to deny a very, very much ready Penelope Maluba, who was lurking in that spot. And we know she's got a sweet right foot, Penelope. She can rip that net from close range, I think, with such prowess and venom.
Every time Endless Piri has the ball, they are overloading that blind spot. It is Penelope, and they need to make sure that they try and have those about Lesotho defense. And you look at players like Bokansan, you look at players like Tswanelo, Agnes Leboka, they need to make sure that they close down those blind spots. And the goalkeeper as well as Bolelo Mweza needs to improve on the communication to say, always check your surroundings to make sure that we don't find ourselves open, especially in that left-hand side when Endless Piri has the ball.
Well, looking on and pondering, one would say so far so good. You look at the coaches, and both determined to get the 3 points, more so for Lesotho Defence Force to stay in it, and they want to make themselves a nuisance. A water break that is much deserving, including the referees, who need to hydrate. And I'll tell you a secret about the referees. In the halftime break, they have an ice bucket or an ice bath where they put their feet in there to cool off because of the heat of the artificial surface. Can you imagine?
And they cover the most distance, so I believe that is a much needed ice soak on that feet, because they cover a lot of distance. They need to be in every position where the action is happening. Imagine having to be at the Lesotho Defence Force half and one long ball to the Zesco half. You need to make sure that you are up to par with the action. They need that ice bath. And I believe in every game they should be doing that.
They should be. Maybe even on the touchline we should be having towels that are in that ice water just to cool the players down. But we'll get there.
Yeah,
Slow strides.
Yeah, we'll get there.
But I think it's something worth noting as we progress in this tournament. We are told that we will be experiencing some heat wave in next week, which the players will need to be protected somehow. And maybe some of them can bring those hand towels and have them in the bench with a bit of ice waiting for that break, just to cool off the players. So 25 minutes on the clock, 0-0 is the scoreline. Some close calls. Endless Piri denied an offside. Here she is just in the replay showing what she can do. And it was Penelope Maluba who had just gone into an offside position. Well, we get started here. Referee is indicating that we can get going. Ball taken off the chest nicely by Avel Chitundu. Kept in play. Well, I disagree with Chitundu in that moment. The full circumference of the ball had not trickled over the line, and the referee bought that one, and eventually it is a turnover ball. So Lesotho will get an opportunity to launch one of the robust attacks from defense, get that high ball forward. You're looking for Dimpo with a very strong foot, but she decides she'll leave it, and she does leave it for Tato Mapepesa.
I was wondering if you still remember what color of jersey Natasha Nali is wearing. Do you still remember? She's in the game. It's the goalkeeper of Zesco.
That is a Trevor. That is a twister, and good point, because we haven't been on the other end. We have forgotten what color jersey she does wear.
I forgot. Lesotho Defence Force, they have been doing so much defending. They've been soaking on the pressure from Zesco, Ndola girls, and there's a lot of action in that midfield, a lot of turnover possession. They'll be quite happy that they're managing to win those battles in the midfield. They need to do more now as they try and reach that final third and try and test the goalkeeper.
Ball in the box. Lurking on the edge of the box, but forced to turn is Mobanga. And this time you are expecting Ndlovu to work that ball in, but good work by Nsabeleng. And the referee doesn't think that is fair and gives the free kick. Well, we are talking about the compactness of this team. We are looking at the areas of focus, which you could comfortably say almost 60% of the ball is within the middle of the field, and maybe the other 20% is in the attacking third of Lesotho. Maybe 5% on the other side, which is that of Zesco Ndola. That shows that the busier of the two sides defensively is Lesotho Defence Force, and they have been well drilled in terms of trying to keep their spaces correct and trying to keep the communication open. But they've got some defending to do. It's a free kick. Ball is delivered. Header. And keeper gets a hand to it. Or the woodwork coming to the rescue in that attack.
The woodwork indeed came to the rescue for Lesotho Defence Force. They need to make sure that they defend those balls much better. The goalkeeper and the defenders there, I haven't seen any ball that is floated into the area that is won by a head of Lesotho Defence Force. They need to improve in that area, because when you find yourself defending deep into your half, you are bound to make mistakes. Those sort of balls you have to defend, and they need to make sure that they don't allow the Zesco Ndola girls to space and time to get their head into those crosses.
Well, when you look at the Lesotho champions, you know, you really got to associate them as soldiers, you know, on and off the field. You're seeing the discipline. They're absolutely proud, and they are wounded. Make no mistake. They lost the opener by 2-1, a game they know they should have won. And when you talk about knowing that they should have won, they led for most parts. And my saying that goes, you don't nearly kill a snake, you kill a snake. So Lesotho and Zesco are locked at 0-0 apiece. By that, we knew that they could have sealed that game in the first half, a game of two halves, as it is usually said in football, dominating the first half. Almost 3 clear chances they should have buried, and that allowed Gaborone United, who were dead and buried, to come back from the dead and show their mettle in the second half. So here is a team that knows all about defending, literally, as they are from the defense force.
They know all about defending, and so far they have been doing it very well. It's going to be important now for them. Any opportunity, any chance they get, they need to be clinical, because it looks like they're not going to have many of those chances. Well, the 30 minutes haven't gone in this game. They haven't made any clear-cut opportunity. The first chance that they're able to create, they need to make sure that it is on target, it is a goal for them, and they need to improve in that game management. In that midfield, they're doing well, but they need to know how to now break that defense of Zesco and Ndola girls. Maybe open the field a bit wide and use that width and try and have those crosses coming in and those late runs from the midfield to try and have more numbers when they move to the final third.
Yes, Zesco looking to find Judith Soko. Soko sends it down, looking for Vrpa. Endless Piri, drop of the shoulder, riding a challenge, switching play to the right-hand side. Picked up and just running over her feet. And it is the player who's come on here in the starting lineup, Abigail Mukombwe, forcing away from the bench. Well, Esther Muchinga was a player who had to be relegated due to injury. And you also got to feel it for a player called Melody Kipimbi, who also was injured during training and was hoping to get a run in today's match. Here is Lesotho defensive force. That ball just being hoisted into the box, but good defense from Zulu. Good defensive work from Zulu. Ball is a little bit of a ping pong. Maserati. Musele. A bit of a push and a shove. Judith Soko is part of the wall of Jericho. When we talk of the wall of Jericho, we're talking about Soko, Mulenga, Zulu, and Walia. That is the back four of Zesco.
They've been good. They've been very marvelous, especially in this game. They're able to contain that attack of Lesotho Defense Force. They're so gifted, especially aerially. They're able to deal with those high balls, making life difficult for Lesotho Defense Force when they try to play those long balls.
Talking about long balls, KK, will you agree if I say Lesotho Defense Force needs to treat this match as a final? And the reason for my statement, a lose will most certainly send them packing. A win will keep them in the hunt. And they believe they have the mettle to stay. So a win, and that will give them the fight for a space into the next round.
It is a final before the actual final for Lesotho Defense Force. Yep. They need to collect all the 3 points in today's encounter as they lie and wait to see what will happen in the second encounter that starts at 7. For that, today for Lesotho Defense Force, it's only 3 points. For Zesco, they know even if they get a point, yeah, it's still good for them.
Well, there's no room for error. And basically, you're looking at Lesotho Defense Force. They're going to have to play their match, the next match, the final match in the group stages against Parental Queens. That is the last match. And what a matchup that would be. Well, for Zesco, that first game wasn't just a win. It was a statement of ruthlessness in front of goal, quick on transition, solid defensively. They came here not to participate, but to dominate. 3 points already in a bag. A win today will put 1 foot, maybe 2 feet, in the next round, right?
Yeah, 2 feet in the semi-finals for them, and I believe they'll also want to try and finish top of the table with how they're going to play the semi-finals, with the winner of Group A having to face the runner-up of Group B. I know there's a team they're trying to avoid.
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. But to be the best, you got to beat the best. You cannot avoid anyone. You cannot avoid anyone Well, redemption and character will take them through. Here's a strike, turn and shoot. That is the glimpses of a player who has 26 goals, 14 assists. Avel Chitundu. Avel Chitundu.
They shouldn't allow her to have time to make a first touch and turn. That was a beautiful touch, very composed in that area, but it was a tame shot that the goalkeeper had covered.
Let's have a look at that. The first take took the ball away. She turned around and took a snapshot. But you got to look at goalkeeper Mwenza and say her positioning was quite important in that move.
And Bokantsane also, she was quick to try and close the space and make her rush her decision.
Makhotso, good lanky play, waltzing away. Makhotso can take a strike from distance, but she's forced to go away from goal. Good defending by Zesco, forcing her to get a bit of a difficult angle. I can tell you something, a grass burn from the artificials, and that is the danger, that is the discomfort. Now you'd need some sort of cream over that, maybe some tights to cover. We called that when we played a polony. I don't know about you, KK, that's a polony.
Very painful.
Absolutely.
It's painful for her. Now she has a mark that she can show when she get home to say, I was in Gaborone. I was in Gaborone United Stadium.
People take trophies home and some other souvenirs. Oh, KK. There's a player, Tato Mapepesa. She looks like she is in trouble. Hopeful ball that will be picked up by Judith Soko. Mapepesa looks uncomfortable and limping away. Well,
there's one player they wouldn't want out of this. But she does look like she's in some sort of a discomfort.
Well, here's our player. I'll tell you a little bit more about her, as I don't know whether KK and I can sing, but it is an opportunity. In actual fact, it's jersey number 10. 10 green will tell you a story. Stay with me. I'm full of stories. Stay with me. I am full of stories. Jersey number 10, green. If you're not going to stay with me, you're not going to get to know what I have in my bag. 38 minutes on the clock. 0-0 is the scoreline. Ball being hacked away. Ball being hacked away. Tandiwe Ndlovu. It will be quite a good start for LDF to finish the half with the 0-0 scoreline. That means in the second half, someone will set the cats amongst the pigeons. And when that happens, there'll be feathers flying all over the show. Zesco, for the moment, are quite happy to enjoy ball possession. And it is LDF that are trying to do much with very little. Avel Chitundu. Chitundu looking to thread that ball and pick up Mubanga. Mubanga! Good angle being closed down by goalkeeper Mwenza.
She's been in the right positions, is Sibolelo Mwenza, in this first half of the game. They'll be quite happy that they are going to this halftime break with a 0-0. But it's going to be important now in the second half how they come out, because they need to come up, Lesotho Defence Force. They need that goal and they need to try and commit numbers in front. And that is where now Zesco will be looking to say, we are also going to try and hit them on the counter, because they know when it comes to the second half, there will be a few tired legs out there, and that's where they can try and capitalize.
Mapepesa and Lebuka, the two center backs of Lesotho Defence Force, need to communicate a little bit more. You got to see Mapepesa showing a bit of strength in that move that nearly cost them a few minutes ago. Instead of really defending on the right side of the attacker, she was turned around and made to face a goal.
They need to make sure that they communicate more, those two center back. They've been doing well so far, but there are a few mistakes that it wasn't only that ball. Two more balls before that one, they made the same mistake. They're not communicating well. That is something that I believe the technical team should have noted down to make sure that they talk to them. And also the goalkeeper should be the one who's voicing those instructions to say, communicate, to say, check your surroundings and who is in your surroundings, because miscommunication in the second half with a bit of tiredness is going to cost the team.
Well, we asked the question earlier on for you at home, as can the Zambians show that the opening day was no fluke and keep that ruthless streak going forward? Well, the soldiers have other ideas. The soldiers have other ideas. They are a team of redemption and character. They are looking to bounce back from defeat. They are looking to impose themselves, and a mistake being made. Capitalizing is Makhotso looking to deliver the ball in the box, but solid they are. We spoke about the wall of Jericho. Bounce of the ball is there. Snapshot into the midriff area. Player stayed down. Ball hoisted. Dimpo. Keeper had it covered over the bar.
Painful.
Absolutely. Medical team being summoned onto the field just to investigate the player that is down on the ground, and that was the chance from Masariti, who went straight into the midriff of Pauline Zulu, and she stayed down, and the ball kept going by Dimpo Ntako, looking to capitalize on the numerical advantage. It ain't easy. They're looking on and wondering where the goals are going to come from. Those are the future players of Gaborone United, just to name a few. Double action that have been the dominance, and those are our officials who are looking on and watching on, and I do hope enjoy the commentary as well.
Indeed, they are enjoying. They don't have any other choice. They called us to be here. They are going to have to enjoy as well. I'm wondering also with the 45, almost, we're getting to the halftime break. They're looking on, they're jotting down their notes. They need to tell us so far who has impressed them. And we're going to see in the final whistle who's going to be man of the match, because it's been very tight in the first half of the game. Very difficult to say this is the player that you can choose, because that midfield of Lesotho Defence Force has been very stubborn. They have been very solid. That defense of Zesco United, they have been, like you said, the wall of Jericho.
Well, the one thing I can say, KK, is that in Africa, wherever you go, there are some homies. Zambian fans who are in the stands, the Lesotho supporters who are at full voice, of course, and the Botswana locals who, without a doubt, will want to make a statement. Lovers of football, they are here to appreciate the quality of women's football.
And you have to be careful if you are in Botswana and you have your national team has beaten the Botswana national team. Trust me, they'll be on the opposite side.
So top class officiating from across Kusafa. Just to remind you that the top two qualify. So every goal matters, every point is gold. On the edge of the box is the Vrpa of the tournament, Endless Piri, skidding through. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. Endless Piri. Piri! Moment of brilliance. Execution aplenty. Superstar of notes. She is celebrated in Zambia and all parts of Africa. Quality at its best. Endless
concern.
Vripa Piri. High fives for the brilliance. She took the ball from the halfway line. This is where you see the marauding run of Endless Piri. Eliminating one, not two, not even three. Beautiful back heel, supported, then finished the run with the plum. You cannot put a good lady down. Eat your heart out and let's celebrate Endless Piri. It is the show that begins, and Zesco are in the lead with moments to go to the break, and this is when you need to focus as a defense. This is when you really have to switch on, and for the goalkeeper, she couldn't do much but watch, and was at full stretch, I might add, to try and keep out an Endless Piri. Well, there's a player that's limping off, and it looks like the goal scorer, and she will certainly be panel beated and brought back into the works.
That was a moment of brilliance, individual brilliance. This is where you need your quality players, your star players to turn up. That defense of Lesotho Defence Force has been stubborn throughout the first half of the game. They needed Endless Piri to make sure that with that run, with that power she has on her foot, she manages to get a Zesco Ndola girls on the lead. That was a very brilliant from Endless Piri.
So the script changes, the halftime talk changes from both coaches who had already prepared. I'm sure they have to tear it up and put it in the bin and rewrite.
It has changed completely, especially now for Lesotho. It's now a talk of how do we come back into this encounter. And something that I wanted to highlight to you was that Bokanzani, who is on a yellow card, she was the first person to get dribbled. She could have committed a professional foul, but because now she's already on a yellow, she had to take her foot out and let Endless Piri run.
Well, she's on a handbrake. She's definitely got her handbrake up. Another strike! It goes over the bar. It's another strike that goes over the bar. And this time it's Abigail. Abigail, Penelope. She can shoot from distance. And good to see Endless Piri make her way back onto the field. And that will not happen. She'll probably make her way straight into the change room with the rest of her teammates. And that is the fight that you expect from a player who this season has scored 16 goals from 39 assists. That is for the club. Endless Piri in hot form, coming back from the WAFCON, showing that she is a cut above the rest. Exciting stuff here from the Gaborone United Stadium. The crowd have not been disappointed. In actual fact, they have been anxious and wondering when are they to see the first goal. And it had to be in a critical time. 46 minutes on the clock, which is optional time of the referee. And what a good solo run from the halfway line. And there were some highlights of the first 45. Indication pretty clear. Bounce of the ball was there, taken off the chest, and it had to be Charity in the opening minutes to ask the question. Further corner that was taken from deep header, cleared off the line, and eventually Lesotho Defence Force held firm. They were not done yet as the numbers were trickling in, and a bit of a clash between the two players there of Lesotho Defence Force. Off the chest, taken one more time. Mobanga let rip, but Mwenza was pretty much alert, and the skill, the technique, absolutely complemented. On the edge of the box, another header that went over the bar. Those were questions, attack after attack, and then it had to be Thandiwe Ndlovu looking to try and get a teammate loose, and frustration slowly keeping into this match. Thandiwe Ndlovu delivery, good take on the turn, and that again was not to be for Zesco Ndola girls. Over the top, the strength of Tatoma Pepesa being questioned. Good angle from the goalkeeper to deny a very, very good opportunity for Zesco. But here is the marauding run of the diminutive Endless Piri. We call it the Vrpa of the tournament, to break the hearts of Lesotho Defence Force. Good run, running into traffic, be that as it may, but found the space eventually to make it 1-0 to Zesco Ndola girls. That being the highlights of the first 45 minutes. Shots on target, 6 and 1 goal for Zesco Ndola girls. A lot of the ball being played from the wide areas and in the middle of the park. Not too many entries for Lesotho Defence Force, but what matters is the scoreline on the top of your screen. It is Lesotho Defence Force 0, Zesco Ndola girls 1. Do join me for the next 45 minutes.
Ndola.
Hello, hello, hello. Our screens. Second half is underway here in match day 3 of the 6th edition of the CAF Women's Champions League Kosovo qualifiers. And it's Zesco Ndola Girls 1, Lesotho Defence Force 0. Deadlock was broken in referee's additional time by Piri. Clinical, ruthless, just like they were on match day 1. A moment of quality to punish the Lesotho Defence Force. But let me tell you, we have to give credit to Lesotho Defence Force. They've been strong, they've been compact, they've been disciplined. They lost 2-1 in the opener, but they've learned. 2 back fours, difficult to break down, fighting for every ball. They made Zesco work for that goal. Now the question is, what does Lesotho Defence Force have left?
The game plan has to change now for Lesotho Defence Force. They were defending in too deep into the half. They did well for most parts of the first half, but now they need to come out and make sure that they try and take the game to Zesco Ndola Girls.
Well, they are down, a goal down, but they are not out of this. A draw could keep their semi-finals hopes or the advancement hopes alive. A loss almost ends it. For Zesco, they lead 1-0. Do they sit on it, or do they push for that second goal just to kill the game? So LDF to get the away back into this match. 45 minutes to go. And, looking at both sides using that 4-3-3 formation. A mirror image, but different approaches.
Different approaches for the two teams. You're looking at a Zesco Ndola girls who is still going to be with Abigail Mukombe with that single pivot. She was doing well in the first half. They will continue with that. It's now up to Lesotho Ndola girls who kept changing and trying to go to a 4-4-2 formation during the first half of the game, trying to press with two players. It wasn't working out. They need to try and go back to that 4-3-3 and make sure that they at least have three players all the time applying that high press, trying to win the ball in the half of Zesco Ndola girls.
Well, it is a corner. And Hazel Nali to defend with the sun in her eyes. She's really going to have to be quite awake, but that goes comfortably into the handbag. Well, Zesco Ndola girls are using one holding midfielder, two advanced eights that are pushing high to support the front three, and that's why you'd look and find that Piri got the space with the wingers that are actually staying wide, stretching Lesotho Defence Force and creating every now and then that 1v1 situation out wide. But they're also ruthless when they get it right.
They're very ruthless, is Zesco Ndola girls, especially when they make sure that they stretch that defense of Lesotho Defence Force. They always find spaces in between the two central defense and the left or right back.
Yes, an opportunity to pull one back. Pretty close. Nsabeleng Pili should have done better with that one. It would have been the quickest way to respond to a team that's on the back foot.
It needed to be on target. That ball, Tabeleng will be very disappointed with that effort. She had so much space for Zesco Ndola girls. They will be worried. How is she getting so much room in that area? She should be doing much better to pull one back for her team.
For the moment, Zesco looked a bit vulnerable defensively, and that should have been a better result of that attempt. Here's an opportunity for Makhotso. Ball just hacked forward. Makhotso together with Masiriti. Those are the two players that are the attacking outlet for the Lesotho Defence Force. Nsabeleng Pili, who's really got to stamp her authority in the midfield. Here's Endless Piri, just trying to ride a challenge. It's a very compact Lesotho side with the 4-3-3, the midfield three that's sitting deep and very narrow, protecting that back four. The wingers are almost dropping back to make it almost a 4-5-1 out of possession. But that's why they've been so hard to break down. Strong, compact and disciplined.
Compact and disciplined, and also finding it too hard themselves to come out of that defensive row, because they find most of their numbers in too deep into the half, just sitting on that line. They need to make sure that they try and push more numbers or take a step and try and hold that high line.
So it's a battle of the systems now with the two coaches.
The coach who applies the better system and the players who applies the coach's tactics as they have trained will come out of this field today victorious.
Lesotho looking to hit them on the counter, win it with that compact block. They release their pacey wingers quickly. You were expecting players like Makhotso and Masiriti to do exactly that. Here's an opportunity, and that ball goes out of play. And it is Ndlovu that was dispossessed, and it's Swanelo looking to take it very quickly. You would expect Makhotso to be a little bit more up front and giving you a bit of an outlet, but she's got to track back every now and then. Here's Makhotso. Ball into the middle of the park, and Nsabeleng.
She finds herself having to drop into deep It is Makgotso Moalusi, because of how compact Zesco has been, and they have possession, most of the possession of the ball, making it difficult for her to be sticking there. But also for Lesotho Defense Force, now they don't have a vocal point to at least try and vary their play and play long balls.
Well, here's an opportunity for Zesco, with Mabel Bwalia pushing up a little bit more here in the second half, giving them a bit of the numbers in attack. Throw in. Bwalia, a bit of a push. And it is Tshwanelo Lebuka who's got a bit of a push on the back.
They'll be happy to start that ball from the back. It's Lesotho. A little nudge from the captain, a little clip really on the captain's back heel.
Tshwanelo. 51 minutes, the scoreline still in favor of Zesco. Ndlovu. That's coach Florence Ngata, this being her second game in charge of this team, recently appointed to join the Zesco team. She was previously with Zanaco and also an assistant coach in the national team. So coach Florence Ngata,
wealth of experience.
Absolutely.
She'll be coming here, haven't been the assistant coach for the national team, and you can see how Zesco and Ndola girls are playing, that this is a drilled team, the way
Not
they
only
defend.
that, they've got the muscle of the power utility in Zesco, which is powering Zesco Ndola girls. When you've got such a powerful sponsor behind you, the results are there for everyone to see. Ball goes out for a throw-in, quickly taken. Dimpo takes her eye off the ball as it goes out. It's a throw-in for Zesco. Keeping possession. Mabel Bwalia. Chitundu in that midfield has been fantastic. But so has Ntabeleng Makabane for Lesotho Defense Force. Trying to cut in, eliminating one player, picking up Ntabeleng. Ntabeleng. Picked up one more time with Ntabeleng. It's Tshwanelo. So use the experience of Tato Mapepesa. Mapepesa combining with Pokang Ntane, a player who received a yellow card in as early as the 9th minute. Still surprised that she hasn't put that handbrake. She's continuing to play with the freedom. Yes, she's got the yellow card. Here's Ndlovu. Ndlovu, look at Chitundu. Ball in the box, but it's hacked away by Ntabeleng Makabane. Tied it up again. This time, it's Penelope Mulubwa. You look at Zesco Ndola girls in the 25-26 season. They just have 2 draws, 2 losses with 30 wins. And when you really consolidate this team, you look at the 5-year history that they have. 170 league matches, 150 wins. That's a great win ratio. 6 losses, 14 draws. That is in 5 years. What more can you ask for? That is incredible.
That is an incredible record for Zesco Ndola girls, and they are showcasing that this is why they haven't lost any game in the 2025-2026 league.
Makgotso keeping possession and stretching play, picking out Musele on the far side. Musele has an opportunity to find Masiriti. Should have done better with that ball. Needed to pack the power, needed to place it. You got to do better than that to beat Hazel. Let's have a look at the slow-mo. This is where it all starts. Makhotsa does well to cut in, picking up on the far side. A Musale with acres of space, laying it back. And Masiriti should have done better.
Should be doing better, Masiriti there. That she had so much room to try and pack a powerful shot. Pick a spot top left of the goalkeeper and make sure that she converts that opportunity. We did say they're not going to have many chances. Opportunities.
Here's an opportunity for Ndlovu. Ball is in the air. 56 minutes on the clock. Lesotho Defence Force come away with it in the form of Makhotso. Makhotso, she has back heel that looks to find Masiriti. Player goes down in front of the referee, not interested. And it's good to see the player get up on her feet. That is Reitumetse Namane. Well, she is a player who wanted to be in a better position this time. Masiriti and Tsabeleng Pili head her away. Here is Endless Piri. Ball out to pick up Ndlovu. In the box. Header. Kept in play by Piri. And a bit of a tight angle. That would have been an audacious piece or goal had it come off.
With Piri, you need to make sure that you're always on your toes because she can do that from such tight angles. But that was a good delivery into the area and some good defensive header from Lesotho Defence Force.
Zesco looking for that insurance goal. Keeper had that covered. Good header from Mabel. Back three of Zesco playing with such comfort. Hazel under pressure from Makhotso. Eventually playing the quick puff and pass. That ball goes away with Pauline Zulu sending it up front. Looking for the pacey Avel Chitundu. And laying it onto the edge of the box. And corner. Corner it is. Ellis Piri will walk away as if she's not interested.
That was a mistake made by Mapepeza. She needed to defend that ball. Do not allow the ball to take that bounce behind you, especially when you have a striker like Mabunga, Charity Mabunga in that area.
Well, a corner. You need the numbers in the box. There's about 5 white jerseys. Delivery is good on the edge of the box. Keeper gets attached to it. Deflects it over the top. And it is another corner. This match fast reaching the 1 hour mark. Ball into the area, and that's not to trouble a goalkeeper that has been on the high alert. Goes over the top.
She's been doing a great goalkeeper, Mweza. That was the goal that she conceded. You cannot falter. It was a brilliant goal, but so far she has been brilliant.
Header. Chasing that work as Masiriti. She's dispossessed. Zesco sent 2 players or more to the player with the ball, especially the opposition. Good protection of the ball. Goes out to Ndlovu. Ndlovu looking to cut in. Good work by the captain. Followed through This time it is Chutundu. And that is quite a hopeful ball. So 1 hour done and dusted. Zesco, 1 goal to the good. Lesotho Defence Force looking for that equalizer or come from behind. Well, let me also take this opportunity to wish Reitumetse Namane, the player who's just been bundled off the ball, a happy birthday. It's a pity that KK and I cannot sing. Otherwise, we would be singing for Reitumetse Namane of Lesotho Defence Force. It is the young lady who turned 24 today, and she would have been a player that wanted to be on the winning side as the birthday girl, Reitumetse Namane. Happy birthday to you, young lady.
This wouldn't be a gift that she would want. She would rather have 3 points as a birthday gift today. But a happy birthday to Reitumetse Namane, who has played quite well, especially in that first half of the game. She has dropped a bit in terms of the tempo, but it is because of Zesco and Ndola girls, how they have been so organized in that midfield. They haven't allowed her a lot of room to maneuver around.
Well, the day is not done yet. She owns this day. She's got plenty of time. Celebrations will be all through the night. That is Reitumetse Namane. Endless Piri. That being allowed to trickle over the line. In actual fact, saving it from a corner. And is quite happy to give away a throw-in. And that being Masiriti Mutlolo. Just outside your picture, behind the goalpost. There was some warming up that has been taking place of Zesco, and use of the hand there. A quick response by referee Rose Zimba, who is in charge of this match. Rose Zimba, who hails from Malawi, and she is supported by Evelyn Augustines of Namibia and Nandi Pamenze of South Africa. Fourth official is Gialibocha Akame of Botswana. Bounce of the ball there. Well, if you are in Botswana, the languages that you need to know to get by is Setswana and English. And trust me, every single day is a new day. One word in the bank for me. I can share with everyone that I won't sleep in the streets here in Botswana. I can speak a bit of the lingo right now. KK is doing a fantastic job alongside me. So 63 minutes, done and dusted. There's a possible change, and the player is Katlego Mafirika. She's coming off the bench, Katlego Mafirika. She'll be coming in, and we'll get to see who is the player that is being substituted. I think the coach looking at the time and trying to refreshen the team. You need a fresh pair of legs, some tired legs who've done the job. And Mafirika will come in as soon as the paperwork is ready. And Zambia themselves are also getting 2 players ready. Jacqueline Chomba as the player, and we'll quickly try to see who the other player is that is being made ready. I think it looks pretty much like Frida Kabwe, the other player that is to come in. And there's a free kick on almost the edge of the blocks for Zesco Ndola girls. Lovely temperatures out here that have become cooler and more acceptable.
For Lesotho Defence Force, this is the foul that happened. There's a yellow card that was received right there. That is for Lesotho Defence Force. We are looking at Ntabeleng Makabani. She received the second yellow for Lesotho Defence Force. And we're looking at some of the changes that Lesotho Defence Force really need to make those changes. They have dropped down the tempo, but there's one team that needs to get on the scoreboard to have an equalizing goal and go out in search for a winning goal. They need to come out of this match with at least a point that will keep their dreams alive.
Well, you got me scared there when you said Tamiling Mukabane, it's a second yellow. Not in the match, it's a second yellow in the tournament. She would have had an early shower.
In the tournament, yeah. That is.
So free kick, Endless Piri. Mean, plotting. Left behind, Piri tries to curl it. Does do that. And denied. One more time, and she's probably thinking there's the heavens that are against her. She scored a goal, it was offside, hit the woodwork in the first half, and this time around does exactly the same. Endless Vrpa Piri. Way by Lesotho Defence Force, off the chest of Pauline Zulu. Penelope Maluva. Another effort from Piri over the bar. And the brilliance of goalkeeper Mwenza is there for everyone to see. But it is, one more time, Endless Piri asking questions of the goalkeeper. You know, there were some players that I know of that continuously probe the goalkeeper and they keep saying, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. So here is the first change. The first change. So that is number 4 of Zesco Ndola girl, Abigail Mukombwe. She gives way. And also number 18. So Abigail has given way. The player who had come in for Esther Muchinga. And Lesotho have also had a change, and out goes Masiriti Muhlolo. Her place is being taken by Katlego Mafrika. So 18 out, 19 in. Katlego Mafrika. What do you make of? Let's look at firstly the Lesotho Defence Force. That change.
She has done her part, Masiriti Muhlolo, in the first half. She couldn't get a goal. She was getting in those areas, but she didn't have a lot of joy in that right-hand side. Looking at how organized the defense of Zesco Ndola girls was. Maferika is coming into this game with a bit more energy, looking for someone who can make those runs behind the defense of Zesco Ndola girls and try and beat them at pace, try and carry the ball and isolate those defenders. That's where you need to see Mafereka. The last good 20 minutes or so of the encounter for today, they need to get that goal, Lesotho. No surprise to see them making those changes. And Zesco Ndola girls, they also made their changes. A substitute from the previous game, we didn't see Abigail. She came into this encounter. She comes out today, and Chomba is replacing her this afternoon. She did a marvelous job, Abigail, just protect in front of that defense today. And we're going to see a change of personnel in trying to protect that defense. They need to manage the game a bit more. It is Zesco Ndola girls.
Well, the other change is Frida Kabwe. She also made a way for Zesco Ndola girls. That is the free kick from Endless Piri. That had a crossbar shake, which means there was so much of power behind that. Endless Piri pushes it forward, creates space, and again, the goalkeeper getting a strong hand on that. Endless Piri is asking questions of a goalkeeper, Mwenza. So Natasha Nali, Natasha, who's been more a spectator here in the half. absolutely fascinating here in the second half. Responding, freshening up the team on the edge of the box. That will be a little bit of a disappointment. Marjorie Mulenga. So, with 70 minutes on the clock, 1-0 is the scoreline. Charity Mubanga is the other player that was substituted by Frida Kabwe. So a throw in for Lesotho Defence Force. He's still looking to get that equalizer. A bit of a push and a shovel, play stay down. That is the birthday goal that you shouldn't touch. That is the birthday goal you shouldn't touch. She has privileges in today's encounter. Reitumetse Namane drawing the free kick. That will be criminal of Judith Soko. KK, they should give her a free passage of play. The birthday goal, that is.
Seems like Judith Soko didn't get the message
today.
No,
she didn't. No, she didn't. 71 minutes on the clock. Free kick to Lesotho. They've pushed up the big goals. Katleho Mafrika is in the box. So is Tato Mapepesa. They need a quality ball. And that is a disappointment. Doesn't even reach the penalty spot where it should be delivered to, with the hope that players will get a connection, make a connection.
They haven't gotten many opportunities. That was a ball that needed to be in that box, to be delivered in that box, to stand a chance to try and create an opportunity for the team. It was a disappointing ball, and they need to make use of those balls.
Picked up by Bokang. Bokang is beaten to the ball by Chitundu. Marjorie Mulenga keeps it going. Ball out to the left-hand side to Endless Piri. Piri to find Penelope Maluba. On the edge of the box, it's LDF that get it away with the diminutive Musele Peter. Here is LDF looking to go forward. It is Makhotso Muluitse. And eventually the ball goes out for a throw-in.
She's been busy, Makhotso Moalusi, this afternoon. She hasn't managed to get the goal or get into those areas, but she keeps on chasing. That is where you need her to try and chase those balls, and she needs that support also from Maferika, from Ritumetse Namane, also in that front three.
Well, she is the kind of player that works endlessly, and not only that, if you have to substitute her, because she's such a workaholic, that is when you'll get to see how big a player she is for LDF.
She is indeed a big player, and she has shown it so far in this tournament with her hunger, with always chasing. Even on the first game, she was doing so much work, and she's able to even track back and go in deep into that midfield and help out into defending.
Well, here is Zesco playing a bit of a half ground into LDF's half. The captain, Chitundu. And giving chase is Mabel Bwalia. And the keeper, who is quite happy to give away the corner.
Needed to get that right, that challenge. If she missed it, it would have been a penalty, but she got it right. Made sure that she was decisive in getting out and closing that ball down. The beauty of women's football.
Red lips. Lipstick lady. Corner taken. Header. Ball goes out, trickles to the far left-hand side. Yes, Piri. She'll recycle it. She'll bring it back. She'll knock it about. Goes all the way back to Pauline Zulu. Tidied up by Musele.
That needed to be an each perfect ball to Makgotso Moalusi. There would have been a 3-on-3 in that opportunity, Lesotho Defense Force. But as for Zesco, they're doing so well in managing the game, keeping possession and be patient with that build-up, knocking the ball around and choosing the moments to try and locate a forward pass. That is Zesco Ndola girls.
Ball in. Looking for Piri. Piri will take her time. Well, the conditions have improved, 27 degrees from the 30 degrees. The wind blowing at 5 kilometers per hour. Piri on the ball, looking to deflect it to the left-hand side. Zesco with a bit of patience with Jacqueline Chomba. Jacqueline Chomba sets off for Zesco. And so Chomba yet again. Chomba seeing a lot of the ball since coming on. The delivery is good. On the edge of the box, Zesco will, for that moment, allow that particular attacker to go a-begging. 76 minutes on the clock, 1-0 for Zesco. And LDF realizing that they have the opportunity to deal with Zesco Ndola girls. They have the time. There's still belief. It is a Tshwanelo Libuka. And that ball goes out for a throw-in. Quickly taken. Masiriti. Makgotso. Ndlovu. Good turn by Ndlovu. Doesn't she remind you of Giovanni, who played for Cameroon? That is Zesco, who's whipping that ball into the box header in the air. Piri gets a foot in. And a free kick. Free kick for Zesco.
Lesotho Defense Force, they need to make sure that it is a good delivery that will go all the way to the final third. They have committed a lot of numbers up front. They need to make sure that they get into that area. Time is running out for them. They need to find an equalizer.
Yeah, they still have that belief. The equalizer is still on the cards for LDF. A bit of a push from Frida Kabwe. Free kick. I think we're going to have a blistering match in the next fixture that takes place. And that is a fixture of note. Gaborone United. And that is the defending champions. They were up against Rental Queens, two very, very experienced sides that will be doing battle. Again, it was quite interesting to see the average age of the teams out here. Predominantly 26 years of age. The youngest of the teams in the tournament is Rental Queens. They are at an average of 24 years. There's some 14-year-old player who made her debut at this competition for her rentals, and she was brought on to try and make an impact. But the pressure was a little too much. That is Mapua Diwi for her Rental Queens. I'm sure many of you will be wanting to see what does a 14-year-old do against a 35-year-old.
One for the future, really. And you look at that average age, you can tell, it can clearly shows that we still have a good long way to go with this group of players. The way they are playing, they do not play like they're anything less than a 30-year-old. So much experience that they are showing and so much maturity that these players are showing.
But those are the dynamics of women's football as Piri looks to get trip. Those are the dynamics of women's football. You find a 14-year-old playing with a 40-year-old. And one's got to go back and remember in the COSAFA Championship, we had a 43-year-old grace the field from Namibia. I still take my hat off. So there's another change, and this time it's Mulambo. Mila Mulambo, who is a player that finds the back of the net. Mila Mulambo scored in the previous match, one of the goal scorers in that 5-2. So 10 minutes to go to the 90.
Wearing the big number 10, coming off the bench. They're looking for, they're trying to get that cushion goal. It is Zesco United, and they've introduced Mila Mlambo into the encounter, taking out Tandiwe Ndlovu, who had a very good game this afternoon. She couldn't get a goal, but she was very influential.
10 minutes to go. Mila Milambo. Mila Milambo, and this is the player that gave way Tandiwe Ndlovu. So the ball just hovering on the touchline. Dilly-dallying and looking to share skill. The Zesco Ndola girls inside the box, and some frantic defending. Eventually the ball gets away. Follow through, follow up. And here is LDF with an opportunity to break away with Mahotso. Good ball, picking up Katleo. Down she goes and gets the free kick in front of the referee.
That was a bit of a pinball, a lot of miscommunication in that area for Lesotho Defence Force. They need to make sure that they clear their lines and try and regroup. They do not want to find themselves conceding in such a critical time, in what we call a concentration time. Lesotho Defence Force, this needs to be a good delivery. We have seen a few poor deliveries into the area, but this one needs to count, because they need to make sure that they get numbers in that area. They need to make sure that the first header, it is from a Lesotho Defence Force player.
And Sabeleng Pili, keeper, plucks it from the air. Hazel, too experienced to allow that to be of trouble. Penelope Maluba, going in is Pili. It is Pauline Zulu. And the offside flag goes up. That will give an opportunity for Zesco to get a breather and maybe organize themselves one more time defensively.
They'll be happy with that call. They'll be try and knock the ball around and manage the few minutes that are left. They have experienced players who can do that. They can control the game, who can manage the game, and they need to make sure that they keep the ball if they want to go all the way and win today's encounter.
Well, it is a goal kick, and this time Lesotho Defence Force have got it all to do, and whipping that ball going forward, but they're playing it short and trying to get the confidence in making that ball go up front and hopefully trouble the goalkeeper there. That's Natasha Hazel Nali. It's not really the day for Lesotho Defence Force, as time is the enemy. We have 7 minutes to go. Still 1-0.
They're losing the ball in critical areas. Mapepeza there is a throw-in for Zesco United. They need to try and keep the ball, Lesotho Defence Force.
Mila Milambo. And that's a mistake, and a costly one inside the box. But it's tied it up, and Tabeleng Makawe not playing rather dangerously in that area, not even looking at the blind side. Bit of a back heel.
They're not clearing their lines, Lesotho Defence Force. And for Zesco, they are piling in the pressure. They are looking for that second goal, which will mean it's game over for Zesco United. You're looking at just under 6 minutes, just 5 minutes before we can be saying it's the final whistle, plus additional time from the referee. For Lesotho Defence Force, they shouldn't be losing most of their balls in their own half. They need to try and look to the likes of Ritumetse Namane, Moalusi. That's where they need to try and play the ball, try and have those long balls that they can play behind the defense of Zesco Ndola girls.
Well, Dorothy Daka's made her way onto the field with about 5 minutes plus referee's optional time. The clock is ticking, and Zesco, you can feel the nerves. You can feel the nerves. Zesco, who's been ruthless, but holding on. They just want to see this out. The 3 points almost in the bag, 1 foot to qualifying into the next round. And the soldiers from Lesotho, they've given everything. They've been strong, they've been brave, they've been compact. There's another delivery, and that goes into the handbag. 2-1 was an eye-opener. And this is a staring defeat down the barrel. Another loss will send them packing tonight. They'll have to start packing and scrambling and looking for the slippers and making sure that everything is in order for the last game. Talking of their last game, it is up against Sorrento Queens, who will be playing later tonight. And if you are in and around the areas of Gaborone United Stadium, do make your way. It's going to be an evening of excitement, as the defending champions are to be up against Sorrento Queens in a frantic match.
They'll be watching this encounter with Zesco just about to get all the 3 points. Gaborone United will know it is important to get those goals. It is important for them to get all the 3 points. But Sorrento Queens, there's a team that you are not going to take for granted. They've shown with the 2 goals that they scored in the first encounter against the Ndola girls that they are equally capable. They have the quality players who can really deliver for the team. For Lesotho, they have just 3 minutes to try and conjure something. We saw an individual brilliance from Endless Piri. I think Lesotho Defence Force, they also need that.
Well, the clock is ticking. Every second feels like an hour for Zesco, and every second feels like hope for the Lesotho Defence Force. Can they find a late equalizer? It is another change, and Musele Peter is the player that is giving way. And Musele does, who had a good day, and it is Lerato Mpo who is come on. So Lerato Mpo will come on for Musele. That's a pretty late change. Could this be the ace that has been up the sleeves of a coach that is Nation Dube?
A late change. We're seeing Lerato be introduced into today's encounter, an attacking player who needs to just try and be in that area and bring a bit more energy, because you look at Lesotho Defence Force, it looks like they're just about to give up, but they need to make sure that with Lerato's introduction, she's the one who tries.
Here's the surprise. Ball is in! And on the side netting. But not much time left, and not often that LDF go into the opposition half. They should have made better use of that quality, expecting that ball going into the penalty spot area and hoping that players like Mogotso, like Ray Tumetse, even Mukabane, to go in and make something of that quality corner if delivered perfectly. Goalkeeper Nali makes that mistake by not getting the ball to where she wants it to be. And let me just share, the board is up. It is 3 minutes that feel like 3 hours for Zesco. It is 3 minutes of hope for Lesotho Defence Force. And we are all waiting with a bated breath for that equalizer that will give them their point, the only point in this competition thus far. And Sorrento Queens are also looking up and wondering. However, these 3 points have been hard for Zesco to seal out.
Had 3 points for Zesco, and with this 3 minutes, that is going to be feeling like 3 hours for Zesco. They need to have the ball and manage the game and kill off the game.
Here's an opportunity for Zesco to launch another one of the attacks. A bit of a push on Judith Soko. Coach is still giving instructions with that belief. Florence Ntyaka looking on and hoping that her Chargers will get over the line and have done enough to do so. 6 points it will be. They go to the summit of Group A. And later on this evening, we have Gaborone United at 7 p.m. They're up against Rental Queens, a team from Zimbabwe, the youngest team in this particular tournament. Tomorrow you are invited to the very same venue. It is the opportunity for Group B, and that is Costa del Sol. Ball over the top. Piri disappointed and didn't get a hold of that. So Group B, Costa del Sol, Silver Strikers, Mamelodi Sundown, Tingizini Hotspurs, they will be doing a duty. And it was so pleasing to see that we had fans. Here's Florence, a second game in charge of this particular team, being her services being acquired from Zanaco Ladies, and also part of the national team, the assistant in the senior national team. So our fixtures for tomorrow: Mamelodi Sundowns up against Silver Strikers, Rental Queens. I will just share that for you in a moment or two. Costa del Sol and Tingizini Hotspurs will play that match at 4 p.m. and Sundowns will play their match with Silver Strikers at 7 p.m. And what a way to close the weekend.
What a way to close the weekend with a Group B tomorrow. And for this Group A team, it looks like Zesco Ndola girls will be smiling with the 3 points in the bag.
Well, the referee blows a whistle once, twice, 3 times, and the scoreline is one that will remain true to Lesotho Defence Force. It is full-time in Gaborone. Zesco Ndola girls 1, LDF 0. Piri strike in the 46th minute, the only goal of the game, and it's enough. Zesco Ndola girls ruthless in this game. Game 1, resilient in game 2. 6 out of 6, 1 foot into the next round of the 6th edition of the CAF Women's Champions League qualifier. For Lesotho Defence Force, it is heartbreak. The strong, compact, disciplined side, they made Zesco work for each and every inch, but the second defeat after losing 2-1 in the opener, and the road to the next round is now almost impossible. The soldiers fought to the end, but football can be cruel. So from Gaborone, Botswana, in match day 3, the first match of the day, we do confirm that Zesco Ndola girls ran away winners, and here are some of the highlights that you can see. It was a brilliant effort, one that should have found the back of the net by Ntsabeleng Pili, and that ball just went sailing over the top. Good work by Makotso Mulausi, and one cannot deny the wonderful football that was on display. Marauding run, and that was Charity Mubanga looking to release Piri, who was closed down towards the latter stages of the match, and ultimately Charity, who had to pick up her captain far out, and that ball just going out and trickle for a goal kick. She was not done yet as Piri. That ball just going out wide one more time, And the woodwork also coming to the rescue. All that drama at thrills and spills, the near misses, and that was Zesco Ndola Girls in a nutshell. Piri not done yet. Keeper, brilliant save to deny Piri a second in this match. So fantastic moment indeed for Mwenza. Another effort by the goalkeeper who had to go in, and one can only but confirm that the day at the office was well spent by Zesco Ndola Girls.
That was beautiful. A ball that was played by Endless Piri as they made sure that they finish it on the run. We're going to look at the statistics for today. The important thing is Zesco Ndola Girls finish with 1 goal to nil of Lesotho Defence Force with 7 shots on target and just 1 from Lesotho. It sums up really how the day in the office of Lesotho Ndola Girls was. We will be shortly going to pitch side. Nosy is on standby with the woman of the match for today. Nosy?
Standing by. Thank you to our esteemed commentators. Now for the player of the match, it is Endless Piri. She did score in both the Zesco Ndola Girls' group stages game. And to hand over the player of the match trophy, it is Mr. Lesika Kiatoletwe, who is handing over the trophy right now to her. As I have said, Piri has been very instrumental for Zesco Ndola Girls as she has been scoring in both games. She did as well travel with the Super Falcons to the WAFCON recently, and now I am going to be joined by the coach of Lesotho Defence Force, Coach Nation Dube. Coach, an unfortunate result. I just wanted to know what was your overall assessment of the game? Where did you think you missed?
Okay, for now, when we talk about missing, maybe I can just say we just failed to defend that one, but from the overall from the game, I think there are a lot of positives that I'm seeing from these girls, just taking them maybe just for a month, and then now it's like tactically they're coming up.
Tactically they are coming up, Coach, but do you think they executed what you had planned in training today?
Otherwise, apart from that goal, I think they did it well because they failed to score some goals, the Zambians. But I'm saying tactically they are coming up. They're coming up.
And Coach, coming on to the next match, how do you make sure that the chances that you get, you convert them?
Otherwise, we just go and work on our finishing. But for what is happening now, I think we'll just look at how these things are going, how things are falling apart. So we're just going back to the drawing board, then we see what we can do.
Thank you so much. That was the coach of Lesotho Defence Force, Coach Nation Dube, saying that going back to the drawing board, they are going to make sure that they convert their chances. Now I am going to be joined by Coach Florence Kaja of Zesco Ndola Girls, who I'm sure is very happy with the result. But I want to know from her side, what was the assessment of the game?
Well, the game was okay in that we got the 3 points, but I think we had a lot of lapses here and there. So, yeah.
Coach, the lapses, were they caused by the disallowed goals as well?
Not really. We just looked a bit disorganized here and there. So those were the lapses that we had. But also the disallowed goals also had an effect. But, yeah.
People would ask at home, Coach, how do you get your players to be that mentally strong? Because when you have a disallowed goal, a morale may go down during the game.
We need to psych the players that the referee's decision is final. So we need to psych them to be ready for any decision that is made, and they should not drop their guard or even lose their confidence. They keep pushing, and they pushed until they got a clear goal.
It is 6 points though, Coach. So what is the approach to the next match? Are you going to be resting any of their players?
Everyone has an opportunity to play. We can only rest those that have got injuries, but so far until we get the doctor's reports, so even the last game we still need, even if we have 6 points, we still need to push and get just maximum points. We know it's going to be a tough one, but we just need to psych our players and prepare very well, looking at the mistakes that we've seen in the game that we played.
Thank you so much. That was Coach Florence Kacha of Zesco Ndola Girls saying that going back to the drawing board, even though they did have 6 points, they still believe that the next match is very essential for them to get another maximum points. Do join us back at 7 p.m. where the host team, Gaborone United, will be taking on Rental Queens of Zimbabwe.